This is totally my personal experience, and I think a lot of people would agree that it is important to understand the ecosystem of the exam. And the kind of questions that were put to me during the interview actually made me realize that it is very important for me to not forget the concepts.
Hello, Aditi. Welcome to Ecoholics Toppers Talk.
Thank you, ma'am.
Congratulations to you,
Thank you
for your immense success in the Indian Economic Service examination.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
So, Aditi, Indian Economic Service exam, any which ways, is a huge leap that you have taken in your policy making career, and in that you have been positioned as AIR 2, second rank. It's a huge thing. I'm sure that not just you, but all your family members and people who know you would be really excited about it. How are they feeling?
Everybody was very happy when the result came. It was a little delayed, and it was also unexpected to see my name at the second position. So it took me a while to sink in with that feeling, but my family got really emotional and they are still celebrating the feat. But I have understood now.
Right. The emotions and the feelings are finally sinking in.
Yes, ma'am, totally now.
So, Aditi, I would like to know, firstly, economic policy making and economic services, the Indian economic services, this examination is very specific and core to policy making, to understanding economics from very different multitude of angles. So, when did you start your preparation, and when did it come across to you that this is a good examination to give?
Ma'am, not a lot of people know about this exam. So when I was in my standard 11, there was a teacher who told me that if you are interested in economics, then why not try for Indian Economic Service? And it was then when I got to know about this examination. And then further, I pursued economics in my graduation and post-graduation.
Wow, that's so
And
good.
I started the preparation since 2019 when I started my master's.
Having a good mentor and having a good teacher, someone who can direct you towards your potential goals, is something that really is delightful to have. And I'm sure that you must be having a lot of such mentors in life.
Definitely.
So this was in school. And after your schooling, then you started with your full preparation, or how did you go on with taking the right subjects so that they could align with the syllabus?
So, ma'am, basically after my 10th, because there is a notion here that if you're good in studies, you must pursue science. But my parents and I, we were sure that I am more interested towards humanities or commerce. So initial plan of action was to take or pursue commerce in my 11th standard. And after that, I went to Christ University and I pursued my bachelor's in economics honors there. And then I continued doing my master's also from Christ. So during that course only, I started preparing, and full-fledged preparation started happening in my master's.
Wow, that's really a well sorted plan that I think you went through. I think while talking to you, I'm also getting this vibe that you're quite sorted in life. You like to plan things out, and you do as the plan suggests. So, how did this discipline come to you? Because many of the students struggle to focus, and for such type of examinations, which already have a variety of subjects in line that they need to study, focus is something that's very important. So, how did you start with the focus and disciplining yourself?
I think firstly it came from my parents, and also because I was fortunate enough to have good mentors in my life. So as I mentioned about the sir who actually told me about the service. Now when I got to know about the service in detail, I understood that I have to be very clear about it. And if I am going to pursue this examination, then I should be starting at the very early stage. And that's why in my master's, I got more serious about it. And I started studying in the rightful manner. And my immediate goal was to firstly excel in my master's. So I tried doing that. And then for a brief period, I worked in KPMG just to be sure that I am on the right path and I'm not deviating here and there. And I was sure that I think government sector is the right place where I can contribute and use my knowledge. So it actually aligned. Everything happened in my life in a manner that it got aligned towards Indian economic services.
Wow. So you also you mentioned KPMG. So were you also interested in research and data analysis while after post graduation?
Yes, ma'am, because I did my course in applied economics. So I was given that kind of mentoring in my college as well. So I got interested, and even I am interested in research and data analytics as of now. But the nature of job that I got in KPMG was inclined towards taxation. So
Okay.
there I could not figure out initially how I can use the knowledge of economics. So I had to take a call of quitting, but I am interested in research for sure.
Correct. Did you also, go for some kind of training or some certification course completely inclined towards research and data analysis?
Not a proper certification course, but in my college, we had a course on data analytics and we also had a dissertation. So the two of them, when got combined, we had a good exposure to research and data analytics.
Right. Aditi, because you are AIR too, and of course, the country people who aspire to make their career choices in economics, they definitely look forward to understanding it from you directly that how did you plan everything? So in that context, I would like to ask you to give a message to these students who are economics aspirants, um, telling them the 2 to 3 ways in which they can align themselves into this field of economics and grab the available opportunities which are equally lucrative.
Okay, ma'am. I think firstly, I think a clarity is necessary. If students have a clarity that they want to come in this direction, the first thing, and the clarity can come in many ways. That can come via eliminating the options that they do not want to pursue, or that can come directly as a method of going directly into the services. In any way, once the student achieves the clarity, the first thing that can be done is to have the syllabus at hand. This is totally my personal experience, and I think a lot of people would agree that it is important to understand the ecosystem of the exam. So, if we have a syllabus at hand and if we know exactly what we have to study, I think a lot of things can be then done further. And after that, we can look to the PYQs because the two of them together can serve a lot. And I think then further, instead of having the approach of completing the book as it is, I think we can sort it via our syllabus and PYQ, and then we can continue with our readings and we can have books, we can have online resources and mentorships. All together can then serve the purpose.
Correct. Very well put, Aditi. I'm sure that, like you have succeeded while planning and sorting it out for yourself, I'm sure this message will be taken rightfully by the students as well. Because economics is a challenging subject, but it's not a difficult one. And if you plan it out correctly, I'm sure that all of the people would succeed in it. Coming to the preparation of this examination, now it's not like other examinations which has like an MCQ pattern and then it's written and then there's some test or something. So it has completely like direct to the point, mains and interview. And there's no scope of there's no leverage and no scope of leniency that a student may give to themselves. Preparation is must. So how did you prepare for your written examination?
Ma'am, again, going back to my college days, we were given a good training on answer writing. So I leveraged that training during my preparation. And this is effectively my second attempt. So in my first attempt, I had not practiced answer writing well because of paucity of time or other factors, but I did not really practice well the answer writing. So maybe I missed out on that part in the previous attempts. But in this attempt, I made sure that I am writing my answer well. And for all the papers, I had taken out the PYQs, and especially for paper one, because somewhere I lagged in paper one. So I made sure that I'm solving all of the questions. So I think roughly for 12 years, I took out the papers and I solved each and every question, especially for paper one. Because rest of the papers were a little low hanging fruits for me, but paper one was very difficult for me to crack. So I took my time in paper one and I allocated according to my strengths and weaknesses. and then I planned the whole strategy of it. And answer writing, I think, is the most important thing to do.
Perfectly mentioned by you, Aditi, because many students have this, excuse, I would say, that it's very tough. Paper one is very tough. It is so lengthy. Every year it's lengthier than the previous one. And there are a lot of questions to solve. And ultimately, the game changer is oneself who really wants to crack the examination. So, by hook or by crook, by hard work or by studying late up till the night, I think you have to do it. So,
Yes,
I think that's what you did.
yes,
You
ma'am.
went through the fire and hardened yourself. So I'm so glad to have heard about this with you. Coming to the last phase of this examination and the second one, actually, interview round. Now, usually interview round is something which is very, anxious one, and
Yes, ma'am.
everyone becomes
Totally.
very anxious, and they don't know, they anticipate a lot. So, what were your feelings before the interview, and what all did you think कि कैसा होने वाला है interview, क्या होने वाला interview में?
So, ma'am, this is an interesting story. Actually, for my mains, I was a little comfortable because I've had answers practice and everything was under control. But
Mhm.
after the result of mains came out, I was very happy. But at the same time, at the back of my mind, I knew that now something is more important coming and I have to be prepared for that. But
Mhm.
after the results came of the mains, I got a little laid back initially. And then, although I was reading newspapers on a regular basis, but I was not revising my concepts well. So
Mhm.
then this Ecoholics interview happened, mock interview happened. And then that was a nudge for me to now start preparing with a full swing. So I started preparing really well, brushed my concepts well. I was reading newspapers, so I continued doing that. I went into the depth of the topic, and then there was a mind mapping that started happening with the topics, that what are the possible questions that can come. So I got anxious to an extent that every time there was some or the other questions that was running into my mind. That
Mhm.
so I had actually divided the possibilities of question into sections according to my DAF, and then DAF got divided further into different aspects. Then I prepared on economics, state economy, the Indian economy. So that was my idea basically. So to have the larger picture and then to bifurcate it into smaller parts to have more clarity and more questions and then analyze it better.
Perfect, perfect. You just mentioned about Indian economy, and I just wanted to know. So, usually, paper four, Indian economics is a huge paper, and it's not just one paper. It's like it travels with you because
Yes.
then it also asked an interview. Then you also should be updated with it for current affairs. It's everywhere. So what are I would like to know what are the three, four hard truths that are there with Indian economy that every student should bear with and prepare for it, so that mentally prepare for it, so that they know that this is going to happen, and they should start preparing themselves mentally and physically while writing the answers for Indian economy.
Okay, ma'am. So again, fortunately, Indian economy was one of my strengths. Now, what worked for me was reading the newspapers every time, every day, because the questions that we see on Indian economy is mostly current affairs based. So if the students or the aspirants understand that they are through with the current affairs, I think that becomes easier for them. Also, second question that comes to mind is about data points. So that should not fuss students much because it's not the exact data that should always be written in the answer. It can be explained in terms of a trend, or it can be explained in terms of an approximation. So instead of really worrying about the exact data, I think if it becomes easier if one understands the trend around the Indian economy. So I think these are some of the important points, like the trend analysis and then updating oneself with the current affairs, that can
Mhm.
definitely help in the Indian economy, and having a basic understanding of how Indian economy was throughout different periods. So I think that in total can help a student write a good answer in Indian economics.
Absolutely, absolutely. Concludingly, Aditi, I would just like to know how could Ecoholics, Team Ecoholics, help you out in your final days of preparation? Ultimately, we are just basking in the glory of your success, and it's just that we would like to know if we could improve on some points and any suggestions, any words for us.
I mean, Ecoholics helped me really well during my interview stage because I was extremely nervous and anxious then. I had signed up for the mock interview here. And as I just mentioned, I think it happened at the very right time. It was in the middle of October. And I was not going full swing with my preparation of interview. So that nudge during my first mock interview was extremely necessary. And the kind of questions that were put to me during the interview actually made me realize that it is very important for me to not forget the concepts, the basics of economics. So I think that played a very important role. And I also was in contact with you because I messaged you with my DAF questions and everything, and you responded me very immediately with that. So I think throughout it was of immense help, especially during my interview preparation.
Well, I'm really glad, Aditi, that we could be of some help to you. And I'm very, very delighted and happy. And the whole team, Ecoholics, is so happy and proud that you have succeeded and ventured into your new journey of economic policy making. Thank you so much for giving us the time for this great conversation. And I'm sure that the students who will listen to it will also be fascinated with all the things that you've mentioned and very much follow all those points that you have mentioned. And I wish you all the very best. May all the great opportunities come your way.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
All the best.
Thank you, ma'am.